there's our setup, Sunlights, Olaplex, 50 volume, 50 volume. And this is, there's what I'm going to be using. My Candy Shell loader brush, my Candy Shell paintbrush, if I need it for whatever reason, my Fremar larger brush, and my Fremar detail brush. We're going to be using the long Bali wrap. This is Diana.
Hi.
Hey, Diana. And this is what we're going to be doing. We want this even lighter, much, much lighter. So we're going to go back over it, and we're going to use 50 volume and get it really light, and I'm going to show you how we do it. I'm going to turn this around. Joel's going to be videoing for us. Hey, Joel. All right, here we go. If you have any questions about anything, just ask Joel, okay? All right, so I'm going to mix it. We have, come over here and just let them see this. We have 1 ounce of product, 1 ounce of Sunlights in there. I'm going to add some Olaplex to it really quick. Not a lot, you know, it doesn't take a lot, right? And I'm going to add the 50 volume cream developer. My goal is to get about 0.90, so just under an ounce. Sunlight's mixing ratio is 1:1. I like it just a teeny bit thicker, but that's just my personal preference. Look at there, 90 on the money. All right, and now I'm gonna mix it up. I use a spatula, and we're just gonna kind of make it creamy. I don't whip it around. I just mix it until I can get some of the lumps out and get it really smooth. I like using a spatula too, because you see how I can really smooth it out here. See that? Like cake icing. No lumps, no bumps. There we go. And look, if for any reason it's still a little thick for you, this is what I do. I just mix it from side to side this way. Okay? Got it. All right, let's get started. So, I didn't have a comb ready, but that's it. I got it. All right, so here's how we're going to part off. You can kind of see right here where Diana's hair wants to part anyway, but I part off right in front of the ear. That's one section. I'm going to turn her around, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can actually see where she wants to naturally part anyway. So we'll part off there. And so those sections are out of the way, and now we're going to do the back. So let's see here. We're going to start right about, well, exactly where it was the last time. Okay, lay it down for me just a little bit, Diana. And that's what I'm looking for anyway. So I'll show you how quickly this can go. All right, so I'm going to load my paddle with my loader brush. Work it out. And let's go in here and lighten this up some. So I'm going to get Diana to tilt her head. I'm going to pull it really tight. I'm going to load my my paintbrush, and go in here. She showed me that the inspiration photo, she has kind of a ribbon effect to it, the outcome, and she wants to maintain some of her depth. So I'm not going to paint the underside. We've already talked about it. I'm just going to paint the surface. So you need to know what type of end result they're looking for. Do they want it super bright on the ends? Because if they do, you're probably going to need to paint that underneath section. Diana doesn't want that. So we're only painting the surface, okay? Good. And let's go to the next section. I'm just going to continue to use my loader brush because I can cover more space that way. But the same principle applies. The size of your dome on your brush determines the width of your, and the size of your highlight. I'm going to make it kind of soft at the top so that it's a kind of feathery and seamless, so she doesn't have that real strong line of demarcation at the top. See right up there how it's kind of feathered out?
Yep. Susan says we wish you had your talents here in Delaware. I'm assuming that's Delaware, yeah.
Susan, with Sunlights, you can actually request a class and we'll do an in-salon class for you. All you have to do is go to www.sunlightsbalayage.com. In the top right-hand corner, there's 3 or 4 little lines up there. If you'll click on that and go to request a class, you can fill out the information. It doesn't take but about 5 minutes, and fill it out. And if you wanted to have me there, which I would love to come, you can actually, once they contact you, you can tell Jameson that you'd like to have me to come. And if we can get the minimum, which I think is 10 people, they would send me to you. So for those of you who can't travel, you can actually have one of our team come to you in your salon. That's a pretty good deal.
A lot of people watching, no question.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, so you see that? Again, softened it at the scalp. I'm not going all the way to the scalp. That's just not the look that she was looking for. Still using my Candy Shaw loader brush. I'm going to clean it up and get me a nice section here. And my highest point is always toward the front of the head. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means that I'm not going to leave a dark spot at the highest point of her head toward the front. I always want my highest highlight, my peak, to be towards the face. And we're going to pull it really tight and get in here and make it light. The tighter you pull this, the better your working surface is. I'll show you on the next piece what I'm talking about.
Teresa Sharp says, hello, my friend.
Hey, Teresa. Teresa's my friend in Tennessee. I think Teresa took my class in Oak Ridge. Right, Teresa? So for those of you who open air paint, I personally don't do that. I use wrap with mine. The reason that I use wrap is because it's like an insurance policy for me. It helps prevent spotting on the next section, and it also acts as a heat barrier. So it kind of traps in some body heat and helps me process this.
Teresa says yes.
Yes, that's right. Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Okay, so there's our first section. I'm going to run back in here and let's go to the next section. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. Diana has finer hair. She has a lot of it, but it's fine. So what does that mean to you as a painter? It means it's very easy to overpaint her if you're not careful. And it also means that if your sections are too thin on finer hair, you're going to run the risk of the product falling through. I like to say if you can see through the section that you're painting, if you can see through it, it will fall through it. So just remember that. I'm going to use my loader brush again. So remember, I'm not trying to add new highlight to her, to highlight new sections. I just kind of want to hit what we did previously because we really want to make it much lighter.
Teresa says one of the best classes ever.
Thank you, Teresa. You can see where I've been before. So we're gonna run back in here and lighten this up. This is Sunlight's Balayage Clay Lightener, and I'm using 50 volume cream developer with a little bit of Olaplex mixed with it. We're gonna soften that up some right here so that she doesn't have that hard line of demarcation. Remember, I'm not pressing very hard at all right here because I'm not wanting to transfer a lot through the bottom, just a little. Remember, she has fine hair, so if I paint heavy here on top and here on the bottom, all these sections, she's going to be super light, and that's not what we're going for. So that's the amount on my brush. I don't overload my brush because when I do that, I don't have a lot of control. My brush can kind of be all over the place, and then I've got product everywhere. Soften that up, soften that up, soften that up. Give her a good blend. There you go. So you see what we've got? We've got a really high point, a low light, a highlight, a low light, a highlight, a highlight. But see how they're staggered? They're not all the same. So this is going to create more of a natural look, and it's going to give her more dimension. Make sense? Everybody good?
Everybody's good.
Good. Perfect. All right, so for this section, I'm going to come back in, and our higher end is going to be towards the outside, not on the inside. I'm going to get Diana to just resist me a little more, and I'm going to push her head a little forward.
Cheryl Claiborne is watching.
Hey, Cheryl. Cheryl is a client of mine, and she has recently retired from VF, but is kind of part-time right now. And one of my favorite clients, right, Cheryl?
It'll get warmer in just a minute. Just make sure you
All right, so I'm going to drop her out a piece right here because I don't want her to get too light, so I'm going to leave some depth here. I'm going to come back in on this outer edge. This is the part behind her ear. This is the part where a lot of these girls, ladies, kind of pull this hair forward. So I want to make sure to really get this good. Yep. And really soften that up a little bit. I'm always aware of what I've painted beside of it, and also what I have lying under it. Okay? So there's what we have. Whoops. Good. So see that? All right, let's put another piece of wrap on her. The Bali wrap that I'm using is the large or the long. It comes in 3 sizes. We have medium and we have small. And they're already perforated, so you don't have to worry about trying to tear it. You just hold it along the preparation and it tears right off. All right, so let's see if we can find where we were before. Yep, good. So you see how fast we're moving along? I'm not rushing. I just want to show you how quickly it can go. So we've done 2 sections already, and we're already well over halfway up the back of her head. For those of you who are using 20 sections to paint somebody's head, you're probably using too many sections, and it's taking you way too long. I typically also do not start where I want to end. What I mean is that if I don't want her highlight to go any further than right here, I'm not going to start there. Because if I start there and I've put too much, it's hard to back it off. So I start a little below and then softly work my way back up and soften that out. Keeping it tight, keeping my work space tight. And remember, exactly what you see is what it's going to look like whenever it's blow dried. So if it's bumpy or if it's got a really hard look to it, that's exactly what you're going to get whenever it's blow dried.
Teresa said that she's taking Candy Shell's virtual Zoom class
Yeah,
late October, the 20,
yeah, just recently.
yeah, something, 26 or something, I believe.
Did you like it, Teresa?
I don't think it's been yet. She said the 26th.
Oh,
Yeah,
October.
October 26th,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. Got it. All right, so we're going to leave this section out. There was nothing there anyway, and we're going to highlight this. But you can see where she has all this depth here. We're going to keep it. You can see where that highlight was. So right here, start down here, soften it out a little bit, and really pile on the product. Now, I'm not pushing it through. I'm simply layering it. If there's not enough product on here, she's not going to get enough lift.
How thick are the sections?
Her sections are probably,
2 inches?
yes, easy. Yeah, 2 inches. I'm gonna soften that out a little bit. That makes a huge difference, that little bit that I did there, just to soften that out. Yeah, she's got a good 2 inches in between that. You see that? Yeah, 2 inches. I'm gonna leave this piece right here. It's already light enough, but I'm gonna come in right here and do this section. Let's comb it out. I'm gonna get her to turn her head, load my loader brush, start down here and work my way up. I'm tilting my brush a little bit and just working off the edge of the brush. See that? We're looking for these ribbon effects. And she's already told me that she doesn't want it really high around the front of her face. The last time that she had it highlighted and it went up high, she ended up a few days later giving herself a root shadow. Diana's a hairdresser. A very good hairdresser. Okay, so see that? See how we have that really nice soft transition there? It'll look really good. I don't feel like there's enough right here, so I'm gonna go back and add a little more. I'm gonna get her to tilt her head. I really wanna add the product here because I want her light. We're gonna lift her up to tone her back down. Yeah, better. Good?
Good.
All right. So when I put the wrap on, I just kind of let it go in and stick to the moisture in the product. I'm not mashing it. I'm just kind of letting it go in there and I'll gently tap it. If you mix your product wetter than I do, then you may not have to actually touch it like that, but that's just how I do it. My product's a little drier. Okay, so Diana's hair likes to part right there, so I'm gonna keep that in mind because that leaves me a larger section over here to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and work on this side first since this is gonna be her heavier side. All right, we're gonna mix a little more product. Come over here, Joel, and I'll show you. Also, guys, I want to tell you this. Whenever you're doing this in the salon and you have to use more product, you know that you should be charging for the extra product that you're using. Just like you do whenever you're doing a color and you have to mix extra color, right? You should be charging for that because if not, you're losing money. And your client will understand. All right, so we're at 112. I want it to be at 190. This is 50 volume. Perfect. On the money.
Thanksgiving. Do you want to do that week or do the week after?
Yeah, I can do that week.
Okay. Okay.
You guys have any questions?
Day before, are you working that day?
While we're waiting, let me tell you about a class that we're having.
You want to do like
We're having a class in Hope Mills, North Carolina.
2 o'clock?
The 25th of this month, so not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We have room for 3 more people. We're having a class in Raleigh, North Carolina, November the 2nd. We have room for 6 more people. We're having a class November the 16th in Greensboro. That's a 3-hour class, and we have room for about 6 more people there. The 3-hour class is $99, and you're going to be painting the last hour or so. The all-day class in Hope Mills, North Carolina, and in Raleigh, North Carolina is $199. You get your setup, you get your bowl, you get your loader brush, you get your candy shawl paintbrush, you get your paddle, you get a mannequin. All of that is yours to keep. And you get me all day long right by your side, holding your hand, making sure that you get what you came to learn. And that's $199.
Here's a question that's sneaking by me. Teresa says, do you mix in ounces or grams on your scale?
I mix in ounces. Grams are very hard for me. But I know that a lot of hairdressers use grams. All right, let's lower this down a little bit. So if you guys are interested in those classes, if you'll go to Jameson Shaw at Sunlight, no, I'm sorry, not Jameson Shaw. Jameson at sunlightsbalayage.com. Jameson is the person that you'll get in touch with about the ticket, and he'll get you a ticket and you can come to one of those classes. All right, so let's look again. Here's our next section. This has been previously highlighted, so we're going to go in and highlight that. I'm still going to use my loader brush. I'm going to clean my brush off right here. I'm going to come in here, hold this really tight, and load it. Start down here, a little lower than where I really want to end up. I'm going to tilt my brush up a little bit, soften that out, and then come in here and paint this. Remember, I'm not pushing it all the way through. She does not want to be saturated all the way through. I've got a wet towel right here. And just to cover all my bases, I'm going to soften that out right there. Yeah. All right, let's go to our next section. You can kind of see where she's been highlighted at. So right there. So we'll leave her a low light right there. I'm going to get her to lean her head forward for me. Start lower than where I really wanted to end up, and then smooth that out.
Caitlin says no back combing needed.
No back combing needed. Caitlin, tell me why you would be interested in back combing her. Normally, you back comb to create some depth at the root, but I'm not going all the way to her root. And I'm making it very soft at the very top.
Just soften the line.
Yeah. No, there's not going to be a line there. There's nothing wrong with that, with back combing. I'm not saying that I haven't done it before, but doing it this way just eliminates that step. So it's a matter of learning how to work smarter and not harder, because that's just creating an extra step for me, and I don't really have to do that whenever I can soften this up right there. You see how soft that is? She's not going to have a line there. I'm going to get her to tilt her head that way. Listen, don't be scared to ask them to move their head or, kind of push them in the direction that you want them to go. They're more than willing to help you as long as their hair looks good.
Caitlin says thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, so there's that section. And let's get this one on. All right, and let's move to the next section. So this is probably going to be the last section I do with her. On the back. Let me just check it and see. Maybe not. I'll break it up into two sections. All right, let's smooth it out, clean up the product really good. All right. I'm gonna hold it really tight. See what the product that I have here. It's not really thick on my brush.
You're welcome, Teresa.
And we're gonna soften that out. Soften that out.
Caitlin says, did you do her previous lightning?
I did, and she fooled me. It was, when I checked it, it looked really light. It looked like she was a level 9 already. And it had been on for 20 minutes with indirect heat, and I thought it was done. And I told her that it was done, and when I shampooed it, I was like, where did my highlight go? So let me just tell you, you need to really make sure that they're the color you want them to be before you take it off. A good rule of thumb is this. If you check it and you think it's ready, leave it another 5 minutes, even 10 minutes, unless you're 100% sure that it's a level 9 or a level 8 or your target level that you're shooting for. And look, I mean, you can see, I mean, to me, she's a very light level 5. I mean, nothing's up here. To me, she's a light level 5. And I thought, I can knock that out in no time. Wrong. All right. And I didn't use 50 volume on her either. I used 40 volume the last time, which is what I normally use. I use 50 a lot though also. But she fooled me. Okay, so this is our last piece in the crown.
Yep, before I on the side.
You're good. You're good right there. So remember, we talked about this. She doesn't want it really high. She definitely wants a root on it. So I'm not going to paint it really high. I'm going to come in right here and just kind of follow what I already had there. And just make sure to really soften all of that out. See that? And if you look at it this way, you can see that they're all, fairly similar. Let me see here. How did I miss that one? I missed one. Okay, it's a good thing we looked. Yeah. All right, let me get you to lean forward. So this is the sister piece to the other side of her head. I'm going to drop it and just kind of look at it a minute to make sure that they're about the same. Yeah, I think it looks about the same. The highest point's about there. Maybe a little more on this side right here. I'm gonna pull it really tight and I'm gonna just kind of soften that line up a little bit right there. Good. Do you guys do that? Do you stop and look at it and try to decide, you know, what's matching and if you're up high enough or low enough?
Let's see what we got. Caitlin says that she's glad that she stumbled across this video. And Teresa is saying how long ago was her last painting?
Teresa, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. Let me tell you what happened. So after we painted it and Diana, we finished and I realized it wasn't light enough. It still looked good. It looked really good. So she went outside and was taking some selfies of it. And when she came back in and showed me, this is a great example of what lighting will do. I'll post what it really looked like. And then there's no filter on what she did. Do you have your phone with you? There's no filter on what she did. She just was outside. And when we saw this, we were like, we have to relighten it. So this is,
Well, now that's what it has to look like.
yeah, so we were like, so that's what it has to look like. So I mean, that's what lighting will do for you. But so now we're redoing it so that she can be that light. Okay? But we just did it yesterday. Her hair's in great shape. There was absolutely no color on her hair. So we're not worried at all. And we have our buddy Olaplex mixed with it. Now, these finer pieces around her face, some of those actually got lighter. So I'm not going to really saturate very heavy here, but I am going to go over it because they're still not light enough. So I've switched now to my Candy Shawl Balayage brush. And like I said earlier, she told me that she does not want it higher than probably her eye. So we'll take it to right there. And I will lay this back. And put a piece of wrap on it. All right, let's go to the next section. You can kind of see where her hair wants to naturally open up. Let's see here. Yeah, that's good like that, Joel. So we're going to leave her bang out because I don't want to go any higher than this. And I'm going to drop it so I can kind of see. So I know not to take it really, probably any higher than right there. Just the bend of that curl.
Teresa says, can you explain why you switch brushes?
Yeah, because I'm working on a smaller section, so I didn't want such a large brush. I could have used it and just really worked off the edge of it, but I just didn't. I didn't want to because I had this one. But I'm really making sure I get enough product this time. Okay? See that? And this is our last section on the top. All right, let's back up just a little bit so I can see this paint right here. I'm gonna let go of it just a minute so I can see that I really don't want to paint probably any higher than my last piece. I'm gonna go a little higher so there'll be some type of transition, some type of natural fall. I don't want it all to be exactly the same to look like a machine did it. Soften that up. And then I'm just going to step back and look at it a minute. So I'm not crazy about how that looks. So I'm going to run back in here and just kind of soften those ends out. See that? That looks better. So she has more feathering. Okay, more like that. I like to actually use the camera to look back through it because I'm looking behind it just to see it, and I still want to soften that out. So I'm just going to take my finger and gently soften that out some. I'm going to pull it tight. She's got a layer right there, so it's kind of hard to do. There we go. That's better. But now I've got to go back in and add more product and rebuild that. There. Much better. But listen, that took 10 seconds to actually correct that, and it will make a world of difference in how it looks. Okay? So let's do the other side. I'll tell you what, Joel, go on that side. Go in front of her. Yeah. So this is the thinner side that she parts on. That's her heavier side. So this will probably be maybe 3 sections, not much at all. There's one section. Let me find my little clip. I have my product. You guys have any questions?
A lot of people watching, no questions.
Okay, that's okay. So I'm going to lay my brush flat. You see how flat my brush is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, hold on a minute, guys. All right, there we go. You can't turn it.
I can't get it there. Okay.
So my brush is flat. It's not tilted up. I have a very small mound on it. And I'm not going to take my highlight any further up than where it was because Diana does not want a lot higher than her eye at all. Right, Diana?
Because I'm picky.
Because she's picky. And I have to work with her, so. And I want it to look good.
Okay.
I want it to look like she wants it to.
Everyone who's seen me in the last 2 days is like, I love your hair. I'm like, well, take a look because it's about to change again.
All right, so that's that section. And I want you guys to kind of train yourself to be able to see where the hair naturally kind of wants to fall. Like you see that right there? That tells me that that's going to be a good area to highlight again. So that was my next section, okay? Back up just a little bit, Joel, so it's not so close.
Like over there?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to pull it tight so I'll have a clean working surface. And it really helps smooth it out when it's tight. And they'll tell you if it's too tight. So these are slants. I like slants a lot because they just kind of create that kind of gradual descent here that you would naturally get if your hair was maybe pulled up all day on the beach. Last section. Okay. So again, I'm not going to paint any of this right here because we don't want anything close to her eye. I'm going to start down here. I'm going to work my way back up. I do want this one to be a little higher though than this one so that, you know, they don't create this line all the way around her head. The highest point of a highlight typically is always in the front anyway. Not typically, it pretty much always is. Soften that out, soften that out. Soften that little line out right there. Almost done, making sure I have enough product on there. I'm using the corner of my paddle from corner to corner. The reason that I use it from corner to corner is because it creates a V underneath it if I was saturating, so that it doesn't create a straight line. My board's pretty messy right now, but that's why we do it. So there you go. So her whole head's been done. And it didn't take that long. We could have knocked off maybe about 10 minutes if I hadn't been talking so much. And that's it. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'm gonna take the phone now and then I'll turn you around. Hold on one second.